Hello, everybody. Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's annual meeting presentation for the Minnesota Music Coalition. A couple of housekeeping items. You are welcome to use the chat feature if you'd like to make this feel more like a meeting where we're all coming together and visiting. So feel free to add your name and say hello in the chat if you'd like to. And I don't know if we'll have time for questions, but if you have them, feel free to pop them in there too, or to send me an email and I'll give you my email address later. But we're really happy to have you all here tonight. We have a lot of information to cover, but I really was excited at the idea of sharing what the Minnesota Music Coalition has been up to this year and how we're moving forward into the future, our new strategic plan, and also just thinking about celebrating some amazing contributors to the Minnesota music community this year. So let's jump into it, shall we? I'm hoping this will take just about an hour, but we will have to move rather quickly. By the way, I'm Joanna Schnedler. I'm the Executive Director of the Minnesota Music Coalition. And I have been with the organization for just about a year. It has been a really wonderful experience, and I'm pleased to be here. All right, our agenda. We're going to look at the highlights of our past fiscal year. And the reason we're doing this the last week of June is that our fiscal year is July 1st through June 30th. So we are just about to finish our fiscal year and start a new one. And we've done a lot this year that we're really pleased to tell you about. We're going to honor our Minnesota Music Champ Award, an annual award we've been doing for several years. We are going to tell you a little bit about our strategic plan that was just adopted a couple months ago. We're going to share a new Minnesota Music Legacy Award, which is a new award for the MMC. And we're going to tell you what's coming up this year for the organization and ways that you can get involved in the future. And this is also being recorded so that it can be shared on our YouTube channel. So if you know people who haven't or are not able to attend tonight, please let them know they can see this on our YouTube channel, and we will as well. Our programs. So of course, this was a really interesting year for any nonprofit, any arts organization. Interesting is putting it lightly. But we did deliver programs throughout the year and did what we could in a changing environment to serve musicians throughout Minnesota. We had workshops and points of connection for musicians throughout the state, our annual Minnesota Music Summit, performance booking and referral opportunities, and MMC was an advocate and worked in community partnerships. I'll tell you a little bit more about all of these in just a moment. For our workshops and connections, we held monthly workshops. Some of those topics included the Music Modernization Act, merchandising for musicians, insurance basics, conflict resolution, financial management, and booking in 2021. We also held several online networking events for musicians and people in the music industry to meet from across the state, and they did join us from across the state. And we continued our mentorship program to match musicians with mentors who could help them along their careers. We held our annual Minnesota Music Summit this year, a hybrid of online and in-person events. And the theme was the state of Minnesota music, as we thought about what the future looks like for Minnesota music. How do we go there collectively? We had 22 performances, both online and from locations across the state, including the Mall of America, Landmark Center, Fairmont Opera House, and Sacred Heart Music Center in Duluth. We had a huge lineup of workshops, panels, and musician stories, panels such as accessibility for musicians, educational pathways, a plenary on the future of music, touring in Greater Minnesota, and many more. And we also had tried something new by doing a Minnesota musician stories and performance segment of our conference as well. And all of that content, it was really a great event, is available on our YouTube channel in the blocks of the workshops and concerts. So you can go there and check that out. MMC has booking and referral opportunities as part of our programming. And though this was a kind of different year for paid performance opportunities, we managed to pay musicians for 111 paid performance opportunities. MMC hosted several series that were online during the pandemic. And we right now are just starting to launch some of our previous partnerships for performance booking, as well as a few new ones that we're really excited about. In fact, 111 paid performance opportunities in the last fiscal year. And I believe we have about 50 performances that are currently on the books for just the next several months. So it's going to get really busy, and we're really excited about all the opportunities for musicians. MMC also has a unique role in community partnership and being an advocate for musicians. There's several ways that we can look at this and things that our team and our board are working on in the community, including shared program partnership development. We are connecting with a series of art service organizations to think about venue resource tool that we can all work on together. Another example of shared program partnership development is safer spaces initiatives that we're working on with the community. We promote musicians and performances and hope to do more of that in better ways in the future. We have fiscal sponsorship, which is where the MMC can use its tax exempt status to assist another project or initiative in its grant making and donation endeavors to make that project happen. And so we've been really pleased to be able to be a fiscal sponsor this year for a couple of different projects. Sharing resources with musicians. We are certainly not the only tool that is out there in the community, and we want to make sure musicians thrive by knowing about as many of those trainings, vendor discounts, resources, information that they can get their hands on to be successful. And we're involved in things like Arts Advocacy Day at the Capitol and the Creative Minnesota Economic Impact Data Project. And then there's the administration and development that we've worked on this year. Quick overview of that. We'll talk a little bit about our board of directors, finances, membership, our annual fundraising event, and the Mendoza Open Door Fund, a new initiative this year. Our board of directors, you can see listed here. We are so thankful for this amazing group of people who give so much time. They meet monthly as a board, as well as committee and task force meetings throughout the year, and bring us their passion and their expertise. And we're very excited to have them all involved. And we, of course, want to say a quick thank you as well that this year, 2 of our longstanding founding board members termed off, Tony Mendoza and Beth Burns. They were founders of MMC. They're one of the reasons that MMC is here. So thank you for your service that ended this year. A quick financial overview, because we're a week away from the end of the fiscal year. We don't have final financial numbers, but that's okay. We're looking at about $166,000 budget for the year. So we are a small nonprofit when kind of in the scope of nonprofits. And we have 2 staff, as well as utilizing various contractors and consultants through the year to help us with projects and things. Here's a snapshot of how our revenue breaks down in kind of about that $165,000, $66,000 ballpark. Institutional giving this year made up a lot of that. Individual giving was that next piece of the pie. Special events, membership. It's important, but not a huge piece of our revenue picture. And then program revenue came in to help with booking fees and ticket sales to events and things like that. On the expense side, this is what our expenses will look like this year. Again, not finalized until next week, but we're looking at about 67% of our expenses are spent on direct programs, as well as 30% on administration and 3% on fundraising. Membership. So MMC, as you know, is a membership organization. This year, during the course of the entire fiscal year, we had 352 memberships. And that number went up and down throughout the year, depending on who was expiring in their membership and who was renewing or joining. But in total, 352 people were members during this fiscal year. 70 new members joined the MMC this year, and we are 31 new members away until we reach a cumulative goal of 1,000. Just a kind of random, like, isn't that amazing? 1,000 members over the past 10 years. We're getting really close to it, just 31 members away if you feel like joining. This year, we launched a new our first online fundraiser ever. Lots of nonprofits were trying to do a brand new type of event as they had to move online. And we did the MMC mixtape. It was a kind of a next iteration from our rock galas that we held for several years that were great fun. And we're really excited for future mixtapes. And I'll say a little more about that in a little while. We had a great lineup for our online gala, silent auction. It was a really fun event. And I also wanted to share about the Mendoza Open Door Fund, which was launched this year. It was a fund launched in honor of Tony Mendoza, and thanks to the genius mind of Beth Burns, to recognize Tony's longstanding dedication and founding of MMC, and to make sure that there are not economic barriers to participation in our programs and in various aspects of being a part of the Minnesota music industry. So we're really excited about what this fund can do and how this can help people to be successful in the music industry. All right, it is time for our Minnesota Music Champ Award, our first award of the evening. And to share that, I need to kind of shift a little bit to another screen. We're really excited that our presenter of our award and the recipient are both joining us via video. So I'm going to get that up if you just give me a moment.
Good evening, everyone. Paul Boblett here, Minnesota Music Coalition Board of Directors. How cool is this? Tonight, I have the high honor of introducing the 2021 Minnesota Music Champion. Here's a little bit about the award. The Minnesota Music Champion Award was created to annually recognize an individual who has made a substantial contribution to the Minnesota music community. This award doesn't necessarily have to reflect work or achievements solely in the preceding year, nor should it be viewed as any kind of a lifetime achievement award. Envisioned by former MMC board member and our good friend John Munson, previous winners include David Campbell, Chris Coleman, G. Anthony Kyle, Sue McLean, Chris Osgood, and our most recent winner, Molly Mayer. We recognize that there are many people in our community who make substantial commitments to the music community, and the person we acknowledge as Music Champ rises to the top each year for their significant commitment and inspiration. This year, that person is Dana Frank of First Avenue. When the pandemic first hit our industry, everything was leveled. and most of us had no idea what to do or what was going to happen next. And that's when Dana grabbed the wheel. As a founding member and instigator of the National Independent Venue Association, her tireless efforts have garnered $16 billion, that's billion with a B, dollars for shuttered venues not only here in Minnesota but across the country. Today, her work continues with NEVA, lighting the way as our industry recovers from the coronavirus pandemic. In 2009, First Avenue was on the edge of closing. Dana had a decision to make: sell First Avenue or take on the responsibility and run the show. And we are so very fortunate that she chose the latter. First Avenue was one of the first venues I played as a much younger musician. My band played the entry in 1981. There was chicken wire hanging from the ceiling, and the stage was where the bar is now. It was a big deal. First Avenue was the place everyone wanted to play 40 years ago, and it's the same today. That's a pretty amazing run of being a gold standard. Dana's had a lot to do with that. I had the good fortune to play tons of shows in the entry and numerous times in the main room during the 80s and 90s, and a few years ago I got to share the main room stage as part of my daughter's band. It was a bucket list moment achieved, no question. And it was one of the many local showcases that First Avenue presents to shine a light on the abundance of talent we're blessed to have here in Minnesota. First Avenue's church. It's the place we Minnesotans cherish, revere, share with friends and family. But maybe most of all, it's a place that we cannot imagine living without. Andy Holness, one of Dana's longtime friends, told me that whenever she talks about First Avenue or any of the venues they operate, is that she aspires for it to be safe and welcoming for everyone. Everyone. All of us. That rings true. The staff treats everyone the same, whether you're a Grammy-winning artist selling out a week in the main room, or you're playing the first of 4 bands on New Band Night on Monday night in the entry. So Dana, we thank you for all you've done and continue to do for the music industry here and across the country. And on behalf of the MMC Board of Directors, we welcome you as the 2021 Minnesota Music Champion. Thanks and God bless.
This is incredible. What an honor. Paul, thank you so much for such an uplifting introduction and such a humbling way of presenting this award. Much like NEVA and First Avenue, with team-based, collaborative, supportive environments that I get to be a part of, this award should also be dedicated and received by the full teams. But I am truly honored to accept the Minnesota Music Champion Award tonight. We're at a point where we've all heard what a hard year it's been. We've felt it. There is no denying just how incredibly tough the last year was for everyone. As music lovers, we lost not only our jobs and our hobbies, but we lost our passion. We lost that thing that sustains us and gives us hope and restores energy. Many of us have marks on our calendars and reminders on our phone for the first night we get to go back and see the band that we love in the main room or the entry or the Cedar or all the amazing venues that we're so lucky to have in Minnesota. In Paul's case, that night he can play bass in his daughter's band on the turf at the Turf. And I've got really good news for you. Just minutes ago, I got to welcome the First Avenue team back to the main room as we go through reorientation and re-onboarding, and we prepare for live music to kick off at the entry in the Turf next week and the main room beginning mid-July. We are not done with this pandemic. We're far from done from the civil rights reckoning, the social justice reckoning that has been at the forefront of this moment. And we have a lot of work to do with the safety of music in our community here at home. That said, Minnesotans dig in, we do the work, we do big things. This year we showed the whole country what live music means to us and that we can come together and fight not just for Minnesota music, but for the music in the entire country. And we will come out stronger activists, musicians, and community members. Thank you again so much for this honor. Thank you again for your talent and your passion and for this amazing community that you are a part of and fostered and nurtured. And thank you to everyone who is a part of the Minnesota music community in this room and elsewhere. It's a powerful weight on all of our shoulders, and I'm just so happy to be a part of this group. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you, Dana, for being this year's Minnesota Music Champ. The next thing that we're going to talk about is our strategic plan. And this strategic plan was many months in the making and was created by the MMC Board of
Music
Directors.
Champ is a woman who
And I am going to give you a very brief. I'm going to please make sure that you're all muted.
largely responsible for the shuttered venue.
Right. There we go. So I'm going to walk you through a very brief overview of our strategic plan so that you have a good understanding of what the MMC is thinking about, what you may see in the works for us in the near and not so near future, and you know, that you will hopefully see progress along this plan as we move forward. So this strategic plan was based on the mission of Minnesota Music Coalition, which is connecting and supporting Minnesota's diverse community of musicians. And so we based our strategic plan goals on each of those components of our mission. The first being connect. The goal here being in specific and measurable ways that are beneficial to both musicians and the complex music ecosystem across Minnesota. MMC will strengthen the pipeline of awareness, involvement, and dedication to the coalition. And we do that, or hope to do that, by building new networks of musicians, venues, educational partners, and businesses throughout Minnesota, creating ongoing opportunities for connection through existing programs, building awareness and connection across kindred organizations and businesses, developing a plan for involvement with a wide array of community activities that aren't run by MMC, exploring how MMC can connect audiences to musicians, building out roles and job descriptions for all levels of volunteer activity, and creating a portfolio of offerings for engaging with educational institutions. Our support goal is that MMC will support musicians at all levels of their careers through strengthening existing programs and identifying gaps in program service. And we hope to do this by expanding the reach of existing programs, creating equitable and transparent performance selection processes, thinking about access. Who isn't using our current program offerings and why? What do they need? Continuing to promote our booking programs across the state, assessing the role of physical space in support of MMC's mission and programs and the needs of musicians and live performance venues. Development of programs related to career paths in the music industry, and collaborative development of collective resources related to resource sharing and performance promotion. Diverse communities. MMC is committed to authentic relationship building beyond established connections, transparency in decision-making, and openness to feedback from the community as we align programmatic and membership strategies with support for and representation of the broad diversity of our statewide music community and equitable access at the forefront of all planning. And we will do this by building toward broader diversity on our board of directors, improving data collection methods to ensure that we understand the demographics of our members and our program participants, reviewing the membership structure and scale and recruitment efforts with a lens of equity and inclusion, creating an organizational accessibility plan, and supporting new or emerging projects or initiatives that are created by or for musicians from marginalized communities. And though it's not specifically in our mission, we also had a goal for resilience and for MMC to be resilient. And that goal is MMC will be resilient through a time of change and uncertainty by investing in the people involved, analyzing infrastructure and assets, and determining a realistic administrative plan for achieving the connect, support, and diversity goals of the strategic plan. And we aspire to do this by staying nimble and aware during the uncertainty of the pandemic through quarterly reforecasting, conservative budgeting, and building a cash reserve, recruiting diverse and dynamic new board of directors members, retaining members for full terms through board orientation and meaningful involvement and appreciation, automating and integrating technology platforms for efficiency and relationship development, engaging and building relationships with donors and funders through a new CRM, that's a constituent relationship management, or our database, a comprehensive annual development plan, dynamic events, volunteer opportunities, and automated giving, creating a 3-year financial plan that works towards the scope of the organization's needs and aspirations, developing a consistent and comprehensive PR plan for all events and news that includes a plan for added exposure to new communities and geographies, and exploring new business and program strategies that align with our mission screen and can bring in new earned income and membership growth. That was our strategic plan overview. And now I would like to bring in our board president, Mary McCoskey, to present our Minnesota Music Legacy Award. Mary, I think you can bring yourself in if you'd like to.
It says unable to start video.
Oh.
Because the host has stopped it.
Oh. All right, gotta love the live. Let me see what I can.
I can talk. I don't have to be video.
No, I think we can get you there.
Okay.
Try it now.
Well, there's 3 of me on here. I don't know why. Oh,
there you are.
I was there for a sec. Oh, there we go.
You are. Awesome.
Okay. Maybe we should go back to the blank screen. Hi, everyone. My name is Mary McCoskey, and I chair the MMC Board of Directors. And tonight, I'm excited to present the 2021 Music Legacy Award, Minnesota Music Legacy Award. This is brand new. And the Minnesota Music Legacy Award was created this year to honor a member of the Minnesota music community who has exemplified a lifetime of significant community impact in Minnesota. And this award will be presented annually and is intended to recognize an individual whose contributions have culminated in unforgettable music endeavors, music community growth, and/or broader social impact. It's my honor to present our inaugural recipient for the Minnesota Music Legacy Award, Mr. J.D. Steele. We all know the name the Steeles, the Steele family gospel powerhouse of Minnesota. And the Steeles have toured all over the place. They've played every venue we've got, and they sang in Prince's movie, Graffiti Bridge, which is very cool. JD is one of those guys. He writes a lot of their stuff and produces a lot of their music and their albums. And as a legacy award, I mean, as a legacy person, his bio goes way back. He started directing a choir when he was 16 of 100 kids. And then in college, he at Purdue, he organized and directed the African American Cultural Center Ensemble and began writing and arranging his own music. He's worked at the Children's Theater and Mixed Blood, and he's worked for Mcphail. He's any music thing that we have, he's been there. He's produced and performed 8 Steele's albums. He's worked with Prince, Donald Fagen, George Clinton, Mavis Staples. The list goes on and on. He created 14 musicals and toured the globe with the Steeles, with the Gospel at Kiwanis, and his sister in the Baghdad Cafe. He traveled often to East Africa and started a kids choir with an orphanage in Nairobi in Kenya of, gosh, there was a lot of kids in that choir, 200 kids. That's a lot of kids to wrangle. But what a contribution to the world, and especially for those kids, what a treat. He created the Mcphail Community Youth Choir in 2010, singing throughout Minnesota. Started the Capri Glee at the Capri Theater in North in 2015 as a community choir. He started the Mill City Singers in 2016, another community choir. And that community choir, I live in the neighborhood, so I have been watching them practice out on top of the parking ramp out my window. But that organization, I know that choir, you can live in the streets, you can live in a fancy condo. Everybody is welcome in that choir. You don't have to pay anything. It's totally a community effort. And he has been heading that up since 2016. And last year he made a video called Listen Please, and it's listen exclamation point, please exclamation point. And he interviewed 4 different octogenarians. One is his beautiful mom. But he interviewed them about systemic racism right here in Minnesota. And I don't know how that got edited down to 18 minutes. It's a beautiful video. It probably could have been full length. I'm sure they had so much to contribute, but beautiful video. If you get a chance to see it, if you follow me on Facebook, it's on my Facebook page. So he's also a filmmaker. He's been nominated for Emmys and Pulitzers and has 6 gold and platinum albums. And my son Jack was a drummer for Mcphail when JD directed the Mcphail Ensemble for their giant annual luncheon that they do. And when and the rehearsals were at the Capri in North, and he told me that his director was some guy named JD Steele. And I'm like, no, he's a huge deal, and you need to absorb and learn all you can from JD Steele. And I just thought, what an amazing example that is to set for kids, that you can use your talent and your music to contribute that way. Jack loved those rehearsals, and it was such a wonderful experience. And for JD to be setting that example for the musical kids in Minnesota is awesome. I've also been following the Mill City Singers when the pandemic hit. They had been rehearsing at the Guthrie down the block, and when the pandemic hit, they got booted out of indoors. So they moved to the top of the parking ramp out my window. And then when it got cold, they moved rehearsals to Zoom. And JD stuck with that the whole time and kept that choir going, so that even in a pandemic, even when you're trapped inside and it was cold in winter, they could still have their music and they could still have their community and share. And I just thought that was magnificent. So JD, you have blessed Minnesota with your talent and your time and your generous spirit since the late 70s. And I'm sure you'll continue to do so. So I am so honored to present to you as our inaugural Minnesota Music Legacy Award recipient.
Mary, thank you so much, you and Joanna and everyone else that's on this Zoom. I can't get the video on because the host has stopped it from happening. So
oh no,
she would have to let me in on my video.
I know, I had that problem too. Maybe she'll get it going.
I have just made you co-host. Give it a try now.
Maybe.
Sorry for the technical
Let's try it now.
I know.
I know we've all been going through this.
Marion.
It's good to see you guys. Mary, it was so great to meet you, and I was so surprised about this award. I'm so honored to get this award from you guys. And I was listening to a big part of the presentation that when it started at 7 o'clock, and I just kept looking and thinking, who are these people? This is incredible. We are so fortunate in Minnesota to have such support of organizations like yours. You have no idea what this means to me and to other musicians who will benefit from your recognition ceremonies in the future. This is just fantastic. It was kind of last minute my pulling this together to get on here, but I was able to do it. I have a trainer at this gym that I'm working out at here in Robbinsdale. And I said, I have to go. And she looked at me and said, go where? I said, I gotta get this award that's happening. So in the spirit of transparency, I wanted to look fairly decent, but I am in shorts.
I'm in jamma pants.
Okay, right. So I got the upper body thing right.
Yeah.
But I just want to say that you guys are phenomenal. I didn't know anything about you before meeting you, Mary. And I'm just so appreciative. And I want to reflect that spirit of our entire music community for organizations like yours that are stepping up to support artists like myself. The pandemic really hit us hard. A lot of tours got canceled, a lot of gigs got canceled, as well as mine. And it was a really tough, the last, 14 months have been really tough on artists here in Minnesota. And to feel things start to move in the direction of normalcy and getting it back together is really a wonderful and special feeling. So having this kind of support and recognition from an organization like yours means so much to me. And I really, really appreciate it to the max.
Thank you so much.
Thank you both so much. JD, you're an inspiration. I'm just so excited that you could be our inaugural recipient of this award. Listening to your bio and everything was so inspiring, and I really appreciate you getting to come or that you were able to come and join us tonight. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't wait, and after meeting Mary, her bubbly spirit inspired me immediately when she said, okay, you're going to get this award. And I thought, okay, all right, let's do it. So I'm just really excited to be able to share in this and get this opportunity to share in this award.
Well, Minnesota's lucky to have you. Thank you so much.
Well, how long have you guys been around now?
Oh,
10 years.
9 years? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you've been around for 9 years, but this is your first time doing this kind of legacy award.
It's the first legacy award, yeah. And when I said we were a scrappy little arts organization, I meant it.
Well, that takes some scrappiness, especially to be around that long. And then evolve into where you've evolved now. But thank you so much for including me in this award. I really appreciate it. And it's just special to me. It really is. It means a lot to me.
Thanks. Good night.
Have a good night, you guys.
You too.
All right. Take care.
All right. I am going to continue with our next part of our presentation. And again, thank you so much, Mary, for presenting, and JD for accepting that award. I really appreciate you being here. All right, let's continue. The next thing that we have is what's coming up next for the MMC. Well, in just a couple of weeks, we will be announcing our Caravan du Nord tour lineup. We will be at locations across the state this fall. Very, very excited to bring just an awesome lineup. The details are just being finalized, and we're really excited to share who they are going to be in just a couple of weeks. Save the date, October 23rd, 2021. We'll have our next MMC mixtape event. This time and this is the thing from the last one, a virtual gala. This time will be virtual and live. Venue to be announced, but you can put that date on your calendar. We are working on a website redevelopment, and we've prioritized that we need to build out some support resources and opportunities for musicians to help promote their music and their events and their announcements and themselves. And we're thinking about that in creative and new ways, and ways that we can connect musicians and members of the music industry in new and better ways too. We will have our Minnesota Music Summit in the spring of 2022, theme to be announced. And we're always happy to have people who would like to help us brainstorm and pull together that event. This year, the past 2 years have primarily been online. I guess it remains kind of to be seen if we'll do another hybrid of online or in person, or if we'll really gather again, and perhaps maybe that location will be a new and exciting location this year as well. So we'll see. And I'm really excited to say that we are about to start a Minnesota music industry data study. This study will be done in partnership with Creative Minnesota, who supports localized studies, and typically those studies are done for cities or small regions of Minnesota to determine economic impact and how artists are interacting with the economy and the arts and culture in those local communities. But ours is going to be a statewide look at how the music industry impacts economic development. I wanted to mention ways that you can get involved. If you are a musician or a member of the music industry, we welcome you to become a member. And membership comes with a number of great benefits, including a large list of vendor discounts, a really great list that is useful for musicians as they navigate their careers. You can become a donor, and to do that, you can go to mnmusiccoalition.org/donate. And actually, to become a member, it's that same mnmusiccoalition.org/membership. Please spread the word. If you know musicians or you know people in the music community and they might not know about MMC, let them know. I know from some of that Creative Minnesota data that there are over 10,000 musicians in Minnesota, and we would love to have more and more of them involved. Please attend performances, and not just MMC performances, of course, but go to shows, buy tickets, go see your local musicians and your musicians across the state. If you're traveling around the state, go see a show and support your musicians in those parts of Minnesota too. Especially this year, we need those ticket sales, and we need those musicians to get their performance fees. So thank you for supporting Minnesota musicians and encouraging your friends and neighbors to do the same. And we welcome volunteers as well. And if you'd like to volunteer with us, perhaps on committees or tabling at events, being an ambassador or helping us plan an event, you can email us at info@mnmusiccoalition.org. Thank you for your generosity and support of Minnesota music this year and into the future. Our list of supporters this year, I had started to write it all down, and it's a really amazing list. And I didn't do it justice and was terrified I'd forget someone. So one thing that we are really excited to do this year is to create an impact and annual reporting page on our website that is going to feature all of our donors and supporters who wish to be there, so that we can continue to say thank you As I mentioned, we are a small but mighty nonprofit organization relying on community support and the generosity of our supporters. So thank you for being that supporter, and have a great night. Thank you. I think we finished under an hour, so wonderful. Have a great rest of your night, and we will see you later.